Welcome everyone to Meld. Today I've got some pretty crazy leaks, but first I wanted to let everyone know that I'm gonna try and go to CES this coming year, and I'll be speaking with potential sponsors. So if you'd like to see about sponsoring the trip, email me at admin@gamermeld.com. So yesterday, the YouTube channel Adored TV put up a video that leaked every single Ryzen 3000 series CPU as well as AMD's upcoming Navi graphics cards. I mean all of it, from specs to pricing and release date. As far as validity, I can say that he was right about the leak for Nvidia's RTX GPUs, but he did state in the video that it was a different source. Although this time there was a leak on Reddit that showed some very similar specs and pricing. Plus, Hot Hardware's Kyle Bennett definitely says that it's pretty close. With that said, please understand that it isn't ultimately verified, but it's just too interesting not to discuss. So let's get into it. First up, we have 3rd Gen Ryzen CPUs, and let's just say, wow. We know they're built on 7nm, and according to the leak, nearly all of the desktop variant CPUs are going to be announced at CES in January, with the APUs much later in Q3 2019. Now, CES is obviously a tough one, but I can say that there's a pretty big announcement. Something huge is happening at CES for AMD. I can't say why, and I don't know what, but from what I've seen myself, this isn't too surprising, though an actual release so early would be. When it comes to the CPUs themselves, the Ryzen 3 series all now have 6 cores and 12 threads, which you'll notice that if this is true, AMD added hyperthreading to all of their CPUs, so no more artificially created SKUs. The Ryzen 3 series includes a 3300G APU with 15 Navi compute units and a boost up to 3.8 GHz. It comes in at $129. The 3300X, which will hopefully be the clocks we can expect of the non-XFR variant given AMD allows overclocking for all of their CPUs again, has a boost clock of 4.3 GHz. When it comes to Ryzen 5, the SKUs are now 8-core 16-thread CPUs with an incredible maximum boost clock of 4.8 GHz from the 3600X and for just $229. The Ryzen 7 series, on the other hand, are 12-core 24-thread CPUs, and the 3700X for $329 has a boost clock of 5 GHz. That's right, if this is correct, the 3700X is a 24-thread CPU that beats the ever hard-to-reach 5 GHz spot. And that's not manual overclocking either. Of course, keep in mind that's probably not an all-core overclock, but if past CPUs are any indication, when you do manually overclock it, you should be able to get around there. And it doesn't stop there either. According to this, Ryzen 7 isn't the highest end. Like Intel, there's now a 9 moniker in the Ryzen 9 3800X and 3850X. Both are 16 cores and 32 threads. That's right, we're at Threadripper at this point, and while the 3800X is set to release at CES, the 3850X isn't due until May. With that said, the 3850X has a boost clock of 5.1 GHz. Yes, a 16-core CPU at over 5 GHz. And I will say that I've been told about a Ryzen 9 prior to this, though my source didn't have it called the 3800X. If this is honestly true though, Intel had better get to that 10nm manufacturing or they're in a lot of trouble. With that said, the leaks don't stop there. AMD's next generation Radeon GPUs are also here, and I'll say that while I hope the naming scheme is not true, please say the specs are. The 3 GPUs discussed are the RX 3080, 3070, and 3060. Yeah, a pretty clear way to jump Nvidia in the naming scheme, and while not my favorite approach, we've seen AMD do this type of thing before. Either way, all 3 are to be Navi-based GPUs and are also to be released at CES. What's incredible is their pricing, especially with the existence of Nvidia's super expensive RTX GPUs. First up, the RX 3060, which is based on Navi 12, is said to be competitive with Nvidia's unreleased 2050, as well as their current 1060 and AMD's RX 580. The kicker here? It comes in at just $130. Yeah, and it gets even better. The 3070, also based on Navi 12, is to compete with the 2060 or current 1070 along with Vega 56. It's priced at $200, but it doesn't stop even yet. The 3080 is the final GPU in the lineup, and it's based on Navi 10, which is meant to compete with Nvidia's current 2070, the 1080, and Vega 64. The price? Try half that of the 2070 at just $250. Yeah, let's just say Nvidia may have messed up when they decided to add all the hardware necessary for ray tracing, forcing the prices up to really high levels. Hey, maybe they'll come back with the 2070 that doesn't have RT or Tensor cores, but at a much lower price. As it sits right now though, I honestly don't know how they could compete with this. The hardware is just too expensive and there's almost nothing that has ray tracing. Basically, if all of this is true, the consumer will be a serious winner. One can only hope. So while that does it for today, what are you most excited for? Ready for cheaper GPUs or some serious improvements in CPUs? Let me know down in the comments below. And make sure to follow Meld for if and when these products do release. And as always, have a great day.